I think the title says it all, doesn't it? Danny Fenton Phantom is trans. That's it, that's the video, ignore the remaining time, nothing more to see here. Okay, so jokes aside, Danny Fenton is an unintentionally transcoded character, and the overall narrative and themes of the show could be interpreted as an allegory for being LGBTQ+. Secret identities have long been something that LGBTQ people have related to, and as such, have projected their own identities onto. It's not hard for a queer person to see a character hiding part of their identity and relate that to their own experience. This goes double for Danny Phantom, with his family being very much anti-ghost, making him afraid to come out to them as half-ghost. This experience is mirrored by LGBTQ people living with anti-LGBTQ family or environments, and being afraid to come out as a result. Add on to that, the queer coding of characters within the show, and you have a recipe for LGBTQ headcanons galore. Let's focus on Danny and list off some circumstantial evidence. He's short, really small compared to the characters around him. While this is likely a stylistic choice to highlight him as the underdog of the story, and a relatable character for similarly nerdy teens and preteens, for the purposes of this video, please humour me. While it isn't a general rule by any means, and there are exceptions, trans guys tend to be shorter than cis men. Thus, Danny is a short trans king. He is also described by characters as prepubescent, so that's certainly something. In the episode Lucky in Love, Paulina says,
"I tell you to go to the men's room, but I don't think you qualify."
This could very easily be interpreted as transphobic bullying when watching the show through a queer lens. And overall, Danny is bullied a lot in the show, more so than the other nerds and outcasts. The explanation that the show gives is that this is because of his parents' and general uncoolness, but Jazz isn't bullied in the same way as he is. It's something that many an LGBTQ person can unfortunately relate to, so is going to result in people, myself included, projecting LGBTQ headcanons onto him, especially if the show they're from has acted as a comfort show or fandom community for them. In the same episode, Danny also wears a top to the pool, which could be interpreted as him wearing a chest binder beneath it. We'll be touching on this scene later in the video, so keep it in mind. And to top it all off, the only somewhat stable clone of Danny is a girl, which could very easily be explained as a result of Danny being genetically female. This isn't all when it comes to queer coding within the show. Dash calls Danny a Twinkie. For those of you not in the know, twink is gay slang for a slim, youthful gay man. I honestly could not tell you whether the writer had any idea what the term meant, my money's on no, but the implication is there all the same of Dash possibly being familiar with gay slang, and as such, possibly being gay or otherwise queer himself. Dash also fits into, often homophobic, stereotypes of being an effeminate gay man, with him having a collection of teddy bears hidden in his closet, enjoying soap operas, being comedically over-emotional in episodes such as Doctor's Disorders, and having a chihuahua who he fawns over the cuteness of. He then hides his femininity for a performance of masculinity exemplified through his bullying behaviour. That is to say, Dash is gay-coded, whether intentional or not, and has been interpreted as such in many fan works. Does any of this mean that Danny is canonically trans or Dash gay? No. But I feel that that's somewhat irrelevant, because what matters more to me is that the fandom surrounding the show is currently overwhelmingly queer. We see ourselves in this silly, cheesy noughties cartoon, and, for me at least, it provides a sense of community and comfort. I watched this show around the time I came out, and in spite of whatever authorial intent there may be related to the characters and themes within, I saw myself in it. But the fandom hasn't always been such a safe and accepting space for queer people, at least not in official fandom spaces, largely because of its creator, one Elmer Butch Hartman. I could make this section purely about his escapades, like, in no particular order, scamming people out of over $250,000 on Kickstarter for a Christian video streaming service that he lied about his intentions of, and then never followed through with at all. Him and his wife claiming you can cure serious diseases and autism through prayer, making a joke about a voice actress's suicide to her successor, jokingly blaming her for her death, refusing to pay an artist he commissioned, tracing for $200 commissions, etc, etc, but that's not the focus of this video. No, I want to talk about his homophobia and transphobia, as well as his tumultuous relationship with the Danny Phantom fandom. Butch Hartman used to have a forum site, which has since been lost to time, with few screenshots remaining. Fortunately, one of these screenshots, as poor quality as it is and with interesting, humorous commentary on it, courtesy of the DeviantArt account I found it on, shed some light on Butch Hartman's views and treatments of the LGBTQ members of his fandom. An admin post from the forums, timestamped as being from 2006, reads as follows, with minor grammatical corrections. I recently spoke with Butch about this /forum trend that seems to have swept up his Danny Phantom characters. He wasn't very happy about it at all. He asked me to make sure anyone who was involved in these forums be stripped of any moderator abilities and kept from posting said materials here. Personally, I'm all for free speech and preference rights and blah blah blah. I'm not going to pay anyone here any lip service. The bottom line is this. If you're involved in a forum that could potentially damage Butch's good reputation, then you shouldn't be posting here. Each member affiliated with those forums will soon be subject to administrative actions. I want to reiterate, Butch should not be put in this position. If you have questions about this, please PM me. 6 members have been suspended. If they are found to continue to be an active member after the 120-day suspension period, they will be banned for good. Thanks, Travis, forum admin. P.S. If you don't know what / is, I'm sorry, I can't explain. Let's just say it's a place where people discuss issues, fanfic and otherwise, that are not in the best interest of Butch Hartman or his career. For those of you who don't know what they're referring to here, / refers to fiction that focuses on a homosexual romantic or sexual relationship, usually 2 men, with / fiction portraying 2 women, often being specified as fem /. So what this forum post is essentially saying is that Butch Hartman's forum admins, endorsed and directed by himself, banned people for posting or discussing media portraying a gay relationship, and branded gay media as inappropriate and damaging to Butch's reputation when made about Danny Phantom characters. Not only did they have a problem with people posting / to Butch's forums, but also demanded that someone not use / forums if they also want to be allowed to use his forums. The fanbase became split up into the true fans and the anti-fans, at his behest, with the anti-fans being those who went against the wishes of Butch within their fan works. Often those who liked gay ships, or by some definitions, any non-canon endgame ships. So basically, shipping Danny with anyone but Sam. As much as I wish he'd changed over the years since then, he really hasn't. Butch's focus on
family-friendly entertainment
in his Oaxis trailer is slightly concerning, given his extremely close relation with the Christian right wing, which is detailed in a Google Doc I'll be linking to in the description, and him having stated in a podcast in 2018.
And that's why God designed
Yeah.
people. That's why God designed couples to be together. So children can have that influence of both a man and a woman as they get older. A lot of people are going to kill us for saying this, but it's like that's just the way it's supposed to be. And
Right.
a boy or a girl without both parental models to follow will suffer in some way.
This was said in the context of straight couples splitting up and wanting to keep them together no matter what, but the sentiment no doubt extends to others. The idea of the traditional family and family values is often used as a talking point by the religious right when attacking things such as gay marriage, so it's hardly a surprise that Butch Hartman used said terms when pitching Oaxis, since his target audience was the Christian right. Now for the transphobia, because that's just as fun, but a lot more passive-aggressive and subtle from Mr. Hartman. Remember earlier how I said that Danny wearing a t-shirt to the pool in Lucky in Love is often used as evidence that Danny is a trans guy? Well, Butch responded to it. Just very indirectly.
I've gone on record saying the reason Danny is not shirtless when he's at the water park is because he gets sunburned very easily.
This seems like just a little tidbit, and you could very easily just call me a conspiracy theorist and leave it at that, but it's a bit odd to even feel the need to mention something like this unless you're responding to someone or trying to counter a popular fan theory, right? Butch also had a habit of blocking people who reply to his tweets saying that Danny Phantom is trans or posting this edit of his drawing, but refuses to ever comment on it. This was, of course, before he got his account hacked by a crypto scammer, and then had to make a new account where he's now continuing. There was also a time when he tweeted this picture, captioned with, "The Matrix," and then blocked someone for letting him know that the Matrix is a trans allegory. Forgive me for inferring views from his actions, but it's a little suspect that he'd block people for even mentioning trans stuff. I cannot think of a single trans ally that's ever gained a reputation for blocking any and all trans people who replied to them. And to complete the picture, I also dug up that in 2016, he liked a video titled "Transgender Mania is a Sign of Cultural Collapse," in which the transgender mania in question is trans people coming out and existing in public, and claims that trans people are a fashion or trend, and that movement towards quote-unquote androgyny is characteristic of the late stage of a collapsing society. Butch, as far as I'm aware, has not apologised or even acknowledged the harm of this video, or that he might disagree with the claims or sentiments within it. Which brings me back to the present day of the fandom. To put it lightly, the fandom does not get along with Butch Hartman, and hasn't done for quite a while now. Admittedly, a lot of this is because of
scamming people out of over $250,000 on Kickstarter for a Christian video streaming service that he lied about his intentions of, and then never followed through with at all. Him and his wife claiming you can cure serious diseases and autism through prayer, making a joke about a voice actress's suicide to her successor, jokingly blaming her for her death, refusing to pay an artist he commissioned, tracing for $200 commissions, etc., etc.
So what happens when a fandom that despises Butch Hartman finds out that he hates it when people headcanon Danny as trans? That's right, they headcanon Danny as trans even more out of spite. Quite frankly, canon is non-existent in the fandom. Most of us can't even remember which stuff is fanon and which is actual canon, so naturally the fandom is quick to adopt headcanons. Hell, we have collectively created fan characters that we treat almost like canon, West being the most prominent. Danny Phantom may have started out as Butch Hartman's concept, but you can bet your ass it's not his anymore. It belongs to the fans. As a sort of footnote, Steven Silver, the character designer for Danny Phantom, is not only okay with the trans Danny headcanon, but has openly supported it. So that's cool, and a good example of how creators should respond to fans creating inclusive headcanons about their show. If you're still here, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see whatever the brainworms command me to make next.